Good morning, or good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Today, we're going to be talking about why or what, maybe what is broken with online courses, and specifically how we can fix it. Now, this is going to be very important if you already have a course that you are trying to sell, or if you have expertise that you would like to package, if you will, and sell it as a training or a course. What does that look like today? Because we need to understand that there is shift happening. I did say shift, not the other word, shift happening. And we need to be aware of where we take our knowledge if we want to sell it. So, or what directions we need to go if we want to sell what we know. As you guys are coming in, just give me a shout out. Where in the world are you? And it is five sleeps until Christmas morning. Are you ready for the big day? The Santa to come down the chimney, if you have a chimney, or walk through the front door, or however he gets in, to lace your Christmas tree with the goodies. Are you ready? So, good morning, Paul. I've been on vacation for I guess last Monday, or Tuesday, Sunday. We went on vacation and skiing in Colorado. So it is lovely to be back in Tampa this morning, where the weather is a lot warmer than Colorado. I think it was like 12 or something when we left Breckenridge. And, we got back here and it was, 76. So yeah, I did miss my warm weather. Although I did love the snow, but it's like, it's a temporary thing, right? You go, you see the snow and you're like, oh, this is so lovely. And then you come back to warmer weather. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. Good morning, Chuck. So glad to see you. Charlottesville in the house. Okay, so just kind of set the stage for today's show. I've already told you what we're going to talk about, what we're going to learn. And then the second thing I wanted to go over real quick with you is our giveaways. We do giveaways on every show. Now, there's a little story behind today's giveaway. Last week, I guess it was last week. Maybe it was actually the week before, because last week I was on vacation. So the week before, we had our team Christmas party, and I got the best gifts ever from my team. Evidently, on one of my shows, I had said something. You know how I tell people this all the time. I'm like, we all say zingers, like we all say things that are like, I call them tweetable moments. But yet we spend so much time trying to figure out what we're going to share on social media instead of sharing our own wisdom, our own knowledge, our own zingers, right? So evidently, on one of my previous shows, I don't know, maybe a month or so back, I said something that resonated with the team. They were like, oh, she said this, like it was a phrase. And they took that phrase and they made t-shirts out of it, and they gave it to me for Christmas. So not only did they take the phrase, they created a design for it, and then they gave me this this is what it is, y'all. I'm going to share it with you because I'm wearing it. It says possibility maker. So I evidently said this little phrase on one of the live shows. You might have heard it, but did it stick? Well, evidently it stuck with the team. So they made me this little possibility maker t-shirt, and we're going to give those away today. So we're going to be giving away, let me pull it up here so you guys can see it. As you can see, it's in black, white. You can choose your color essentially, but we're going to be giving away 2 of these t-shirts today on today's show. The way you win is sharing your aha moments. So what's an aha moment? An aha moment is #aha, sharing those in the area down there. It is like, wow, I didn't know that. Or sometimes it's an agreement, or it's a moment where you're like, yeah, that's so good. Or you heard something that you already knew, but you needed to hear it again. So it's like, maybe they're emphasis moments. Things are said and you're like, yeah, I needed that, or I didn't know that. So whatever that is for you, drop those in down under. That's how we enter you into the Wheel of Wow. So at the end of the show, we will pick the winners for the Possibility Maker t-shirt. Who doesn't want to be a possibility maker? Right? Like, I mean, that is a pretty powerful a statement for sure. Um, let me see who, also, a couple of things. Malaya is saying, good morning to you too. Yes, right? Like this is just one of the presents. I can't reveal the other present yet because it's still in the works, but it is amazing. Let me just tell you that when they showed me what it was, I was like so floored. I'm like, I didn't even know they could do this. Like incredible. So that's another for another show. I'll have to reveal it once we get it all organized. Um, so let me see. Good morning, Donna. Good morning. Chuck's saying, yes, possibility maker. Everybody needs this shirt. They need to they need to get on this bandwagon. We all need to be possibility makers. It's all about what's possible. Couple of other things. If you know somebody who has a course that may not be getting the results that they want, or if you know somebody that is thinking about creating a course, tag them, share this out, sprinkle it out into the world so that we can talk about this, because this is a big topic, and shift is coming. We need to be aware of it if we want to sell what we know. So share it out. Well, sprinkle it out. That's what my friend Molly always says, sprinkle. So I'm always saying sprinkle, using her word because it's such a good word, right? Sometimes you just can't replicate the goodness. You just have to give the credit for where the goodness came from, right? Okay, so let me get. I think that's all. Oh no, one other quick thing before I forget. I want to give a special shout out to our sponsor, Restream. Restream is a go live tool. It allows you to go live from your desktop, go live to multiple places at the same time, over 30 places. Now, if you want to go live in that many places, but it allows you to use one block at a time, go live in multiple places. Very easy. You can brand your show, all the goodness, pulling your viewers' comments, all the things. But it's a very easy tool to leverage if you want to use live video in your business. And I have a special deal for you. They've given me a 7-day free trial to offer to you guys, as well as a 25% off lifetime discount. Again, if you decide you want to stick with this, you could get a lifetime discount. Can't beat that. Check them out. We're dropping that information into the C area, the comment area. Facebook doesn't like us to say the words. I don't even understand, but drop that in, and we will make sure. Or we dropped it in. Just click on the link, and you can go sign up for a free 7-day trial. Try it out and see if you like it. So yes, there you go. Sometimes you can't replicate the goodness, Vicki says. Just give credit where the goodness comes from. Absolutely. I mean, sometimes, you just can't. Like, have you ever seen somebody who comes up with just an amazing idea and you're like, yeah, I can't replicate that. Like, yeah, it's just so perfect. You just can't say it any better than what they do. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you guys real quick, and we're going to get started. Make sure I hit the right button here. Okay, so the topic again for today is what's broken with online courses and how we can fix it. And again, who is this for? It's for people, really anybody who has a knowledge base, whether they've already packaged up their knowledge and are trying to sell it in a course of some sort, or if they want to and haven't done it yet. I think you need to be aware of why there's some core things that are what I would say broke in the space, and how we come into this, especially in 2022, with a new perspective. So let me I want to ask a quick question, and this is super powerful in this context, in the conversation that we're having, because this makes my whole point, honestly. Can you guess what the average completion rate for online courses is today? So I'm going to give you some options, and I want you to tell me what you think is the actual answer. So, is it A, 50%? Is it B, 30%? Or is it C, 10%? Now, going back to the question again, the question was, how many people that purchase a course actually complete it? So let's not even factor in whether or not they get the results from the course, but how many actually complete it. Is it A, B, C? So Paul is saying B. Let's see. Linka, what a beautiful name, is saying 10. So 10%. We've got Kieran is saying C. Stacy says 10. So 10%. Vicky is saying C. I'm just going to, Michelle is saying C. Stacy is saying C. All right, y'all. So this is the reality of it. It is actually C. So 10% of people who purchase a training or an online course, 10% of them actually complete the training. Now think about that for just a hot second. If you are, if you have a training course and you're trying to affect a transformation for people, or you are trying to help people, because why do we do what we do, right? We do it so that we can help people learn what we know, whether it's a knowledge base, a system, a strategy, whatever it is. And if most people, 90% of the people that purchase from us are not going through the content. So let me just speak to this real quick. So I gotta stop sharing my screen because this is so important. It just breaks my heart, honestly. It breaks my heart when I pour my heart and soul into creating a course, and I know that 90% of people are not going to go through it. It's almost soul sucking. I'm just going to speak to it. Just the reality of it is it can be really soul sucking to know that, you're trying so hard to affect the transformation for people or make a difference for people and whatever it is that you are trying to share with them. And that 90% of them, even though, they bought it, so I've heard people say this. So I've heard people say, well, that's not our problem. Our problem is to help the people, come alongside the people that really want the knowledge and implement, right? Okay, so yeah, but if you think about it, again, you got 100 people who pay for your course, 90 of them don't go through the training, 10% of them are going to go through it, but guess what? The numbers even start going down less and less in this context. So let me pull this back up. So again, 10% of people go through the training. But this is where the heartbreak really starts to come into play. Only 1 in 10 actually complete the program that they paid the good money for. So that's the reality of it. But this is the part that just is so stunning. Less than 1% of the 10% actually get the transformation they paid for. So that means 1 out of 100 buyers is actually going to get the transformation that they paid for. Ow. So somebody else want to say ow for a second? I probably created, I don't even know how many courses, a lot. I create a course every month for my Business Builders Academy. I've for years created content to share what I know. And it always is so disheartening as a content creator to know that the person that you're trying to help, most of them aren't going to actually get the result that you're trying to affect for them. And that's an ouchie. That is so hard to wrap your head around. But that's just, again, I just want to plant the seed that this is why things need to shift. Okay. Why? So I'm going to go through, I have 9 reasons that the course space is broke. I've just given you the stats on, how many people are actually getting results. Now I want to really just dig into the why. Okay. Why is it that only 1 out of 100 people are actually going to get the transformation from a training course? Why is that? So this is resonating. So Vicky is saying, aha, less than 1% of 10% actually get the transformation they paid for. It's a stunning number. It's a huge ouchie. Karen saying, ouch. Chuck is saying, yeah, right. It is. It's a hard thing to face. And again, whether or not you already have a course or whether you are wanting to have a course, we need to understand that these are the realities. If that is not a reality that you want, then lean in. Let's talk about why this is so broke. Okay, so the first reason that I have for you is most courses are time consuming and boring. Let's just be real. So like back in the early days of, training courses, whatever, there weren't as many um, resources at our fingertips. Like, and they were still, a lot of the training was interactive. I mean, they were rudimentary, a lot of the things, the way they were passing off information was what in today's world we would think is rudimentary, but there was still a connection point. And then we've translated that over the years to, a lot of video content where we're just training people. There's a video, people have to go through that. That's where we are. That's kind of where, the space is. But the reality is, even though people purchase the content, they want it, they think they want the transformation that that whoever is selling the course says they can have, but they don't. When they get at the end of the day, they're like, oh man, I just don't want to like necessarily go through this. It's a little bit boring, and I'm going to have to really dig in. How many of you guys have done that and you feel like it's too much stuff? It's time consuming. Like I can't devote the time to this right now. I'm over here doing all the stuff and I can't take the time to do this right now. And this is boring. And I mean, the list goes on and on. So that is one of the, I think I hear this most frequently. And sometimes, honestly, sometimes people won't tell you because they don't want it to come across like, yeah, like you're just boring. I mean, I've seen people, I call it it's a little monotone. Have you ever done a training course where the instructor is like, yeah, and you need to do this next. Now you got to put a little life into your training. But many times that doesn't happen. So they're time consuming and boring. And so I'm getting too much content to learn and not engaging with others. Karen says that. Amen, sister. Chuck is saying too much stuff. So true. Yes. At the end of the day, people want the quickest and easiest path to the solution that they're trying to affect for themselves. And that can sometimes be very difficult from a training perspective, especially if you're just doing what I would call the same old, which is here's a video, watch it, figure it out. I mean, they need to know that stuff. But at the end of the day, there has to be more to it than just that, because you lose people if you don't have it. So this is, though, I think one of the biggest reasons that people don't do the work. Okay, so we're just going to be totally frank with each other here, okay? And there's no judgment here because we've all done it. I bet you. I am going to admit that I am the first in line. So you fall in behind me if this is you. We procrastinate. We buy the thing and then we're like, okay, I've got it. They said I have lifetime access to it. This is so good. I've got lifetime access to it and I can just get to it whenever I want to. Boom. How many of you have actually purchased trainings before because they said you got a lifetime access to it? And you're like, yes, I can just tune in whenever I want, whenever I have time for it. Right? So this is a problem when it comes to understanding ourselves and how we are going to take action. And more importantly, how other people are going to take action on the content that we're presenting to them, if it's in a training of some sort. It is too easy for people to procrastinate. I've got this going on today, or I've got this happening this week, or, I've got a family situation. Now, all that's true, and I'm not diminishing that. Having access to content at will is absolutely an important thing. But you also need to understand this is one of the breakdowns of why courses are ineffective for our person. It's too easy for them to procrastinate. So how do you come alongside them in a way that is going to encourage them to not procrastinate? We're going to talk about that more. So Gina, girl, I have a library of courses I haven't finished yet. It's common. You're not the only one. I'm just saying. So Paul says, I have a master's degree in procrastination. Yeah. I actually, I think I'm with you on that, Paul. I feel like that procrastination is a little bit of my friend because I do procrastinate, but then because I procrastinate, I am better under pressure. I have to quickly do the things because it's, here I am, Um, here, Malaya is saying, yes, I have several lifetime access courses, right? And we get like comfortable in that space where we feel like, well, we've got access to it. We'll get around to it whenever we get around to it. Wrong. Because the reality is we don't get around to it. And before you know it, a year has passed. And, think about this through the lens of your student too, or your prospective student. Again, this is a breakdown. It's very, very common. Okay, so this is the third reason that I think online courses are broke. They require you to find your own path to learning. Now, think about this. If 1% of the 10%, essentially, is actually getting the transformation or the result that the training affects or is offering for people, then why is that? It's because in some cases they're lifelong learners, so they understand that they have to learn and implement. Um, but what about the rest of the people? Like, right? So there's a very small percentage of people that go through any training course ever and actually get the result. So, and the reason that is because they have to find their own path to learning. They have to figure it out on their own. Even though they get the knowledge, they still have to figure out the pieces and parts. They have to do the trial and error. Arrow, that word doesn't want to come out today. They have to do that piece by themselves. And they have to be okay with that. They have to be okay with understanding they have to see if it's going to work for them or not, and not having the feedback that they would potentially could get because it's a do-it-yourself kind of thing. That's one of the reasons that so many people are failing is because they're on their own. Essentially, they have to figure it out on their own. And I'd love to hear from you guys. Is this been one of the reasons that you haven't gotten your own transformations from trainings that you've purchased? Do you feel that pain? Do you feel like, yeah, I'm like, I didn't do the work because I couldn't figure out, I got stuck somewhere, or I wasn't okay with testing it out to see if it was going to work for me. Or, I mean, the list goes on and on, depending on the type of content that you've purchased. It's one of those things that I think we struggle with because the reality is we're people. I mean, we need community. I think we need connection. Trying to figure out things on our own is, very few people do it. That's the reality of it. Now, the fourth reason that online training or online courses are broke is, and I see this probably more frequently than almost anything else, is tech overwhelm. And part of this is maybe our age. I'm getting a little older, been around a long time. I'm not as afraid of tech as I used to be, but there's still a barrier to entry for a lot of people. They get to a certain place in the training, and somebody says, "Well, you got to do XYZ. Like you got to set up your email service provider with XYZ, right?" And you're like, "What? What does that mean?" Or, "Hey, you're going to have a sales funnel. What? How do I do that?" Like, and sometimes it's just simple things. Like when I first started on my first online business, like 30 years ago, I didn't even know you could cut and paste. Like I didn't know that was a thing. I used to use AOL business chat rooms. I had little index cards that I would go into these business chat rooms and I would write down everybody's email addresses on a little index card, not copying and pasting them because I didn't know you could do it. I was so like, didn't know what I didn't know, right? And so I write down email addresses and then I go back to that of course it was spam. It would be spam now, but then it was a big deal because you'd get an email from somebody and it'd be like, "You got mail" on AOL. And everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, I got an email from somebody." It was, it was an amazing thing. So I would email people and say, "Hey, I'm doing this. I saw you in this group. you said you needed this. I'd love to be of assistance, that kind of thing, trying to generate clients. Couldn't do that today, right? But then that's what we did. The point is, sometimes it's simple things in the context of, what you think everybody else knows. But if you don't know it, like, does it matter? Like, right? It's a barrier to entry for people. And it could be, like I say, it could be simple to complex. I've seen it so often that the tech just stops people so hard. It's not just a road bump. It's like a brick wall. It's like they get there and it's like their brain shuts down. It's like, can't do it. So if you are that person and you feel like, okay, how do we overcome that? There is an implementation piece, right? You have to solve that problem for your person, but most don't. Most just don't. So Vicki is saying this. Yeah, tech overwhelm is a barrier to entry for many. Absolutely, it is a common problem. So that's the fourth reason. The fifth reason I have for you is so many courses, and I've been guilty of this myself. In retrospect, hindsight, 2020, whatever you want to say, it is, since I've done so many courses and I've seen the struggles and I've seen the problems that people have had, I've gained a lot of clarity around this, even just in the last 6 months, as I'm shifting my business to something that I think helps solve all these issues that I'm talking about. And through that journey, I've had to realize that I've been a part of the problem too, in the context of, I've been saying, okay, here's a course on, XYZ, whatever it is. And then I'm just giving them one piece of the puzzle. So let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, that I'm gonna give you I'm gonna sell a course that helps people build their own training course, right? And you get your training course ready, and you're like, yes, I've got this piece. I've solved this one problem. Here's my one puzzle piece. I've got my course ready. But if I don't share how you sell that course or market that course, then they're just going to have a shiny course. They're going to have one piece of the puzzle, in other words. So I've definitely been guilty of that, where I've shared one piece of the puzzle. I've sold a course that taught people how to do one thing, but didn't help them with the rest of it, right? So that is usually one of the most common things from a course creator perspective that I see happening, is we're doing a disservice to our people, because we're not our buyers, the people we're trying to help, because we're only giving them one piece of the puzzle. I've seen a lot of people who do amazing things when it comes to helping people develop their courses or develop their memberships, or, this, that, or the other thing. But how many of those people, even though they're making millions of dollars training or teaching people how to do those things, how many of their students are making millions of dollars? Think about that. Like, how many of them are saying, hey, look at my student over here. See my student? This student that I taught how to do this thing is now making millions of dollars doing the thing, or thousands of dollars, or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be millions. But how many of those people are actually raising up the people saying, this is the success ratio? You don't see it very often, because the reality is it's piecemeal. They're only teaching one piece of the puzzle. So it goes back to that 1% of people are actually getting a result even at a marginal level. Oh, ouch. Right. Yes, that is hard to think about. So that's the fifth reason that I think online courses are broke in their current configuration. I think this is probably one of the biggest reasons that we don't see true transformation from training courses, is there is a lack of personal attention, meaning it's a do-it-yourself model. Like, here's the course, here's your login, go figure it out. You got your own path to learning. All the things I just talked about are a problem. They're time consuming to go through. They're easy to avoid, logging in, easy to procrastinate. They require you to find your own path to learning. What if you get to tech overwhelm and you get to a place that the training says you need to do XYZ? Who do you go to? How do you fix that problem? So, and if you only have one piece of the puzzle, again, how do you get that personal feedback? So we as educators need to understand that we need to come alongside our people. We need to have some, whether you want to call yourself a coach or guide or whatever, most of from the perspective of, commonly used terms is coaching. It's as essential as, or essentially saying, hey, I'm here. I'll be willing to answer your questions, etc. We have to step up. And that sometimes people are like, well, I can't scale that. Yes, you can. Hint, hint. We're going to talk a little bit more about that too in just a second. Practice makes perfect. So let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about this in the context of traditional education, meaning the school system, right? Like traditional school, or like whether that's like elementary, middle school, high school, college level. This is so broke. So I'm just going to say it. I have a master's degree in online distance education. And like the thing that I think needs to be absolutely fixed, and we used to do this quite frequently when I was homeschooling my kids, true learning happens through repetition and practice. So if you take a test at any level and you get your test result back and you're like, okay, I missed these 5 questions. Okay, I missed those 5 questions. And you go on, right? That's it. But what if you had the opportunity to get feedback on those 5 missed questions, and then you could go back and answer the questions again for extra credit? What do you think would happen if that happened? Would true learning happen in that moment? And maybe you don't get it right the second time. And, you get feedback from that, and true learning happens like that. Otherwise, you learn enough to pass the test and you dump it. It's broke. Our system is broke. So, and it's certainly broke in the context of online courses because we don't have an opportunity to have practice. So let me give you a quick example of what that would look like. So let's say you are a Facebook ads manager and you are teaching people how to become Facebook ads managers. If they have access to you, or you can give them feedback on the things that they are learning, what do you think the result is going to be when they have direct access to their guide, to their person, to their coach, whatever word you want to use? If they have an opportunity to practice and say, okay, didn't get the result I wanted. What do you think is wrong with it? What do you think would happen if they had that person in their pocket? Somebody who could give them that feedback, that could help them through the practice mode until they got to a level of expertise. Do you think that's a game changer? Yes, it is, but it's broke. It's not there, right? We don't, in a traditional course, this is not in play. It's not a part of the process. So Vicki is saying, true learning happens through repetition and practice. Yes. I saw something else a minute ago. Here's a great question, or a great comment. Karen saying, I've invested in many programs and have slowed my investments. Funnels and marketing are where more time should be invested for our audience to support their needs. And I think it's a little bigger than that, really. I do agree, Karen, but I feel like that those are part of the processes. They're not actually going to affect the transformations for people. And I think that's the key that I'm really trying to address is, this is what's broke. How do we come alongside people in a way that's going to actually get them the transformations that they're looking for? So we talked about practice makes perfect. The next one, broke, so broke. There's no accountability. So part of this goes back to some of the other things that we've talked about. Like, it's easy to procrastinate because who's going to hold us accountable, right? I mean, if we're holding ourselves accountable, it's like, so let me share. So I guess it's probably been 10 or so years. Oh no, it's been more than that. It's probably been, oh my gosh, time just flies. It's probably been closer to 20 years. That's stunning to say it out loud. But anyway, I used to be on a women's hockey team, and we always got the latest times ever to practice. And I had a friend in town, we would go down together, right? So, but if one of us couldn't go, it was super easy for the other one to back out and just say, yeah, since you're not going, I just won't go this week either. But when we were both going, we held each other accountable to, going. I know we got to be down there at 10 o'clock because we'd have to drive to Nashville. It's going to, I know it's late. We won't get home until 1:30. You got to get the kids out of bed and get to school the next morning, but let's go. But if one of us wasn't going, it was so easy for the other one to wiggle out because there was no accountability. There's no accountability today in the online course space because it's too easy to not do the work. Can I get an amen? So repeat till I get it. Yes. So Linka is saying, oh my gosh, these personal stories are fabulous. So how many of you guys didn't know that I played hockey? Like, right? Well, I can't say I'm really good at it, but I love it. I do love playing. But accountability is missing in the online course space. And it's just too easy to wiggle out when you don't have that. And accountability comes in a lot of different, from a lot of different perspectives. It could be just simply feeling like you have somebody's looking to see what you're doing. Sometimes it's saying it. So let me share this with you too real quick. How many of you, and I'd love to hear your feedback on this, if you tell somebody you're going to do something, you like do or die, like to make sure you do it. Like that's the way I am. I feel like if I commit to something and I say I'm going to do whatever it is, like I just feel such a responsibility to make sure that I do what I said I was going to do. Now, I know everybody's level of commitment to that because there's things that happen, right? There's things that prevent you from doing whatever it is. Become clean on those things, right? But I do, the burden for me of saying that I'm going to do it is super powerful. And that's an accountability factor. Like, right, if you can get people to say that they're going to do such and such, it's kind of like the onus is then on them, right? So again, that's missing from an accountability perspective. It could be somebody else doing the same thing, so you feel like you're a part of that journey. That's a part of the accountability too. So, so I guess a lot of people didn't know this. Nancy's like, I had no idea that Kim was a hockey player, that she likes to play hockey. Oh my God, girl, right? Vicky saying, who knew? Absolutely. So most people don't know. It has been, I learned to skate as an adult. So not as a child, like my baby, who's 26 now, learned how to skate when he was like barely 5, but yeah, an adult. So I can't say I'm an awesome hockey player. I can only stop one way, but I was the cool mom when the kids were coming along because mama played hockey, and that was cool because most mamas didn't. And the boys, not just my boys, but the other boys thought that was cool, like that I was out there playing hockey with them. Okay, so the accountability piece is obviously broke. So last one that I want to tell you about is, and I think this is probably, especially right now, so powerful. It ties into the accountability, but it's so much bigger than that. And there's no real community. How many of you have purchased courses and there's like a Facebook group? Right? Why do you think they have a Facebook group? It's because it brings people together in one core space. But this is where I think it's broke. Most of the time when I see these communities, it is a one-way street. So what I mean by that is the leader of the group will share certain things or they'll be in there occasionally. But true community, in my opinion, happens when people come together and they support one another. They're all on the same road, but a lot of course creators do not foster true community, in my opinion. So even what's happening, I've seen it even on my live shows where I see you guys talking to each other. You're here every week and you're like, hey, I see Chuck saying, commenting to other people. And, I've seen several of you that we've lost that. We've lost that connection, I think. But if we can get that back and we can really start to support and love each other up, like incredible things happen. If you've got like not just me rooting for you, like if I've created a course and I'm like, hey, here's the transformation you're going to get, but if everybody comes together to connect and again support and love up one another because they're all on the same journey, like how can I help? Where'd you get hung up here? It's an amazing, amazing thing, but it doesn't happen very often. It almost never happens anymore. So community is so, so powerful. And in some cases, course creators will give the appearance that there's a community, but then the real community doesn't truly happen. So that's, again, just my 9 core reasons why I think that the space is broke. So I want to talk real quick about the whole concept of where everybody is in connection with the space. So if you don't already have a course, so you may be saying, let me pull this up real quick. So you're maybe thinking, well, I've missed the boat. Like, yeah, everybody, the space is so crowded. And I'm not sure that, what I know is any different than what everybody else is already out there has created and is selling. So you may be standing on the dock, thinking, running, racing, feel like you're racing to jump on this boat and maybe you've missed it. Well, I'm just here to say you have not missed the boat, you guys. Everybody has a knowledge base. And even if you feel like, somebody else is out there doing the exact same thing, this is where all the things that I've just talked about is being part of the brokenness of the space. Even if you said, hey, I'm just going to create a course, let somebody log in, figure it out. Even if you did exactly what everybody else is doing, there would still be room for you. Because the reality is that people are attracted to different people because of how they show up. And there is absolutely space for everybody. You have not missed the boat. But let's talk about the boat. How big is the boat size, right? The digital education business is going to be projected to be worth $325 billion by 2025. People have figured out, though, that knowledge alone is not going to get them where they want to go. So that's where the opportunity is knocking for us. That's why I'm telling you this is some of the things that I see as broke in the space, because I'm not the only one to figure it out. The buyers have figured this out. They have figured out that knowledge alone is not going to get them where they want to go. Why? Because they've done exactly some of the things that we've just talked about. They bought the courses. They have not gone through them. And therefore, they are struggling. And they know that they need more than just the knowledge. And there is a movement towards community, coaching, and culture. So I want you, the 3 C's, think about that in the context of if you already have a course or, how do you shift that course to include some of these things? If you want to create a course and share what you know, how do you incorporate these things? Because they're important. A couple of weeks ago, I did a training on the 4 kind of what I would call, what's the word I'm looking for? Models, business models, if you will, when it comes to coaching or content, knowledge, if you will. And I just want to focus in down here on the DIY training and courses. I shared this little diagram once before, and I won't go through it in its entirety. But basically, The things that I just talked about, where, the done with you training, or I'm sorry, the DIY training and courses, again, very low overall success rates because, again, it's broke. Um, if you go back to where the success is, it's more with, and I think this is where the shift is happening, is the done with you, the one to many model. Because I shared earlier the context, in the context of people will say, well, I can't support that. That's not scalable because so many people just want to sell the course and let people figure it out on their own. But it's coming to a halt is what I think. I'm already seeing so many people in the online course space who are saying, I'm not selling as much as I did like 2 years ago. I'm having to spend more money today to get my customer acquisition cost is way more today than it was 2 years ago. Why? It's because all the things I've just talked about, it's broke. And people have figured it out. They figured out that this is broke. So how do we show up in a way that is going to change this dynamic? And I think that's the key to all of this is, if we want to affect different results, we must do things differently. And this is an opportunity for all of us to step up and step into the shift. If we don't, I think we're going to ultimately be left behind because, our buyers have figured out that they need more. We're entering into what I would say is a new era in the space that hasn't been seen before. Like I was saying, ads, if you're spending money to get people to buy your content, your courses, then you know that the cost of ads are skyrocketing, and the market is getting beyond crowded, especially when it comes to everybody else is trying to do the same thing, right? The world is going online. We know that, especially in COVID times. There's so many people out there right now looking to figure out a way for them to create and sell courses because they've been sold the concept of it's passive revenue. So this is a whole other problem. So let me talk about that real quick. Everybody thinks that online training or online courses creates passive revenue. Misnomer. Okay, it's absolutely a misnomer, because even if you have this shiny course and you have no way to market it, means you're not selling it consistently. And most people are not, and going back to how many people are actually getting the results. So it's just such a misnomer. Can you create passive revenue with a training course? Absolutely, but most won't, because again, it's broke. There is major problems in the space. But that doesn't stop people from selling the concept and or wanting the outcome, right? Coaching programs and digital training programs, depending on the model, all these things are popping up everywhere. But here's the problem. Almost none of them have a plan for creating products or content that actually sells, much less delivers a real transformation. Now, this is the key. This is why I really harping on this. If we have knowledge and we understand that the online course space is broke, if you bought into everything I just said, then if you're truly, truly wanting to affect transformation, if you want to turn those numbers that I gave you on the front side into numbers that matter, meaning instead of 90% of people not going through your training, not getting anywhere close to a transformation, if you could change that even to 50% go through your training, and you've got more people actually getting the transformation that you promised them that they would get, what would that mean for you? Much less what would it mean for your people? So if you're truly, truly concerned about affecting transformation and making an impact, then you need to lean in and understand that shift is happening, and we need to understand how we become a part of that transformation for people. Hang on, just let me pull that back up. There we go. So that's a big part of it. And that's one of the reasons that I'm offering a limited amount of people to partner with me and my team, so that you can stand out and offer a unique world-class training program that your people are looking to purchase right now. Because the reality is that people are searching for whatever knowledge base you have. And if they know that they're going to get assistance along the way, if you're going to be there to provide support, accountability, feedback, practice sessions, then they're looking to spend money with you. The reality is, if you truly want to crush your impact and income goals in 2022, then shift needs to happen in your model. So if you have a training course already, if you want to create a training course of some sort, you need to understand that you need to position your training in such a way that it fixes the problems instead of contributing to the problems. Okay. My new program, Designed to Scale, is a new way to leverage what you know as well as your time, selling what you know in a way that's scalable, essentially. So if you want the fastest, simplest, and most profitable way to sell what you know online, then I would love to talk to you to see if what I'm doing, would matter and make sense in your business model. Feel free to, book a call. We'll just have a quick call. I promise you, I'm not here to sell anything to you. I just want to share a way that you can take what you know and really make a difference with it versus just packaging it up and doing what everybody else is doing, trying to sell a traditional training course versus literally creating a signature program that is going to help you make an impact, allow you to make the amount of money that you are worth versus, a $197 program or a $397 program. Even $2,000 programs are still not going to affect the transformation for your person. And in most cases, and they're not going to allow you to leverage your time and your money, essentially. So definitely, okay. So we've got to kind of the end of the show. I promised a couple of things. Before I jump into who the winners are for the Possibility Maker shirts. And think about this in the context even of where you want to go in 2022 from a Possibility Maker perspective. What do you want to affect for the people you serve? Are you going to be a possibility maker? And how is that going to look in your business? And again, if you would like to figure out how do you put a program together that is going to be a world-class program that allows you to sell your knowledge in such a way that you really affect transformation for people, then book a call, kimgross.com/game plan call. We'll talk about it. And if this is a fit for you, perfect. If not, no harm, no foul. Okay. Now, quickly, I want to share our winners today for the Possibility Maker t-shirt. We have Linka, Brady, and Vicky won. Yay, the Possibility Maker t-shirt. So if you guys will go over to kimgross.com/winner, we will get you set up with a brand new Possibility Maker t-shirt from the Kim.store store. We're going to be doing some sweatshirts and some mugs and some other things in the near future. But right now we do just have the t-shirt. So the giveaway was for a t-shirt. Awesome. Yes. So Vicky says she wants to be a possibility maker. How many others? Yes, right? Like, think about it. What do you want to affect for the communities that you serve? What possibilities do you want to make sure happen for the people that you want to help? You want to come alongside. I think there's a deep-seated need in most people to make we want to help. I mean, why do we do what we do if we aren't here to help, right? Whether we're a service provider or whether we are sharing knowledge and we're taking what we know and selling it, or there's a variety of business models. But at the end of the day, even products, like if you have a physical product, your product is designed to, even my t-shirt, like I want to inspire people with this t-shirt. I want them to believe that they can be the possibility maker. It could be anything, like even phones. Why do people buy phones, right? Like we buy them for a variety of reasons. So every type of business model out there, at the end of the day, if you internally look back into your own heart and soul, like, what is it that you want to do? What is that physical product or whatever? What is that training course? What is that thing? And if you are honest with yourself and you say, am I really making the impact that I'm here to that I want to make? Am I making it? If you're not, I want you to think about how you can. How do you shift? How do you get to a place where you can leverage what you know in such a way that you get paid what you're worth and actually get the transformation you're looking for people? That's a big thing to think about. And sometimes it does take some internal, you know, introspection. Is that a word? Yeah, I think it is. It sounds like a big word, but no, we have to look internally and say, okay, maybe what I've been doing is not getting the results that I want for people. Or how do I step into that space and do it right instead of doing it like everybody else is doing it right now with limited results? It's time for us to step into bigger things. So Chuck says, thank you, Chuck. So if you haven't, I encourage you to do the game plan call. He did. Yes, he did. And we're on the road to some amazing things with Chuck. Yes. Okay. So Linka is saying, can I share both links again? So I think it is the book a game plan call. So that would be Kim. Hopefully I'll give you both links that I think you are looking for, Linka. One is the book a call. So that's kimgorst.com/game plan call. And the other one is if you won the t-shirt, you could go to kimgorst.com/winner. If you're looking for a possibility maker, a t-shirt, then you didn't win today, you can go to kim.store. I think we have them already up on the store. So, and you can always check back in a couple of weeks if you would like, well, it probably won't even take us a couple of weeks. We're going to do the mugs. Here's a couple of mugs that come from the Kim.store. This is just an emoji mug, but obviously it would be a mug with Possibility Maker on it. I've got to order one for myself, and we're going to do some sweatshirts and stuff like that too. All right. So good to see you all too, guys. Thanks so much for spending time with me. And I want to take a minute because I won't see everybody until after the holidays. So I want to just say Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. I hope you spent amazing time with your families. Our vacation this past week was with both my boys, and we had a great time. And we parted ways yesterday at the airport, and we're like, we'll see you in a week. So we get to see both boys will be home again around the holidays, not exactly on Christmas Day, but it's still amazing. I'm looking forward to it. And I hope you have that same experience or plan to spend some time with your family. So take care of yourselves, stay safe, God bless, and we'll see you next Monday, same time, same place. Take care. God bless.